A guy spent $3,000 on a girl, taking her to a beautiful tropical beach. But at the end of the trip, the girl told him, "We're just friends." That same night, in the hotel bar, she was kissing a stranger. So, what really happened here? I'm going to explain exactly why 95% of men fail badly when it comes to romance, and why the few who actually understand female psychology drive women crazy. This is not what movies or Hollywood fairy tales have taught you. If you're new to this channel and this content brings you value, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone you know who really needs this. Now, let's talk about this guy. His name is Jose, 29 years old, steady job, good guy. For months he chased this girl, late night conversations, elaborate plans, always being the perfect friend. When he finally gathered the courage to invite her on a trip, he thought this was it, his big romantic moment. But it turned into a huge mistake. Jose made the same mistakes that 95% of men make. And the craziest part? He thought he was doing everything right. He followed what movies showed, what magazines said. Be sweet, be romantic, show her how much you care. Lies, complete lies. Do you want to know what really happened that night? While Jose was sitting alone in his room, feeling like a total fool and wondering what went wrong, the girl was downstairs in the bar meeting another guy. A guy who hadn't even bought her a drink. A guy she had met just 20 minutes earlier. The difference was clear. That guy wasn't begging for attention. He wasn't desperate to prove his value. He was just being himself, relaxed, confident, without neediness. And that natural confidence, that lack of need, pulled her in like a magnet. Which brings us to the big question: when does romance actually work, and when does it instantly make you a loser? The truth is, romance isn't bad, but the timing and the energy behind it can either make you or break you. Do it from a place of neediness, and it destroys you. In the next part, I'll show you exactly where the real difference lies. Let's break down each mistake Jose made. We're going to understand real female psychology, not the version you were sold, and I'll give you the exact formula that turns romance into your secret weapon instead of your downfall. Get ready, because some truths will hurt. But I'd rather you feel that pain now than keep repeating the same mistakes for years. You've been sold a massive lie about romance. A lie so big it has destroyed more relationships than all the cheating in the world combined. The lie is this: that romance is the key to a woman's heart. That if you're romantic enough, sweet enough, caring enough, she'll have no choice but to fall in love with you. Total nonsense. 73% of men believe that being romantic from day one makes them irresistible. The reality will hurt you. It makes them invisible. Completely invisible. Let me tell you about Miguel. He's 26, first year of college. He fell head over heels for a classmate. His strategy? Pure romance. Every day, a note in her locker, flowers every Friday, handwritten poems, expensive dinner invitations. The result? 6 months later, she was dating the biggest jerk on campus, a guy who didn't even remember her birthday. Why? Because Miguel gave away all his power from day one. The female brain is wired to value what is earned, not what is simply given. When you give away cheap romance too early, your perceived value drops straight to the floor. Think of it like this. Someone gives you a Rolex on the very first date. Your first reaction isn't, "Wow, how generous." It's, "Something's wrong here. Why would someone give me something so valuable without even knowing me? Is it fake? Is he desperate? Does he have some hidden agenda?" That's exactly how premature romance feels. And here's the craziest part. Society has programmed you to believe that showing interest early means being honest about your feelings. They've convinced you that hiding your interest is playing games. The real mistake is not understanding how attraction actually works. Attraction isn't a logical decision she makes after evaluating your romantic qualities. Attraction is an emotional, subconscious response to specific psychological triggers. And one of the strongest triggers is uncertainty, the tension of not fully knowing where she stands with you. When you kill that tension with early romance, you kill attraction. It's that simple, that brutal. Jose killed all the tension with a $3,000 trip. Miguel killed all the tension with daily poems. And how many men do you know who killed all the tension with early "I love you" confessions? Probably too many. Maybe even you. The good news is this. Once you understand this principle, once you learn the right timing, romance becomes one of the most powerful weapons you can use. But first, you need to understand when to use it. Here's what no one ever told you. Romance only works after building emotional progression. There is no perfect moment. What exists is steady progression. Let me be brutally honest. If you've been on more than 3 dates and haven't escalated physically, you've already lost. Why? Because your actions are telling her that you're not a sexual man, that you don't have the guts to go after what you want. And here's the shocking truth. She needs to feel like she's winning you over, not like you've already given yourself away. She needs to feel she's earning your romantic interest, not that you're handing it to her for free. Think of it like a video game. Which one is more addictive? The one that gives you all the powers at level 1, or the one that makes you work, fight, and push yourself to unlock each ability? Obviously the second one, because the human brain is wired to value what requires effort. 95% of men sit around waiting for clear signals before they act. And those same men end up in the friend zone. Why? Because women don't give clear signals. They give opportunities. An opportunity is when she spends time alone with you. An opportunity is when she reaches out just to talk. An opportunity is when she creates casual physical intimacy, touching your arm, sitting close, walking side by side. Alphas take those opportunities and escalate. Betas sit and wait for her to do the emotional work and spell out exactly what they should do. Carl Jung once talked about the balance between animus and anima. In practical terms, it means combining direct masculinity with emotional mystery. Being clear about your intentions while still leaving space for curiosity and attraction to grow. Be direct in your actions but unpredictable in your emotions. Here's the golden rule that changes everything. Never be ashamed of your masculinity. Don't apologize for being a man who desires women. That shame, that need to ask for permission to be sexual, is what repels women the most. It's what instantly makes you look like a beta. Let me tell you about Ricardo. He's 31, divorced, back in the dating game after 8 years of marriage. His first mistake was trying to apply marriage rules to dating. His second mistake was being ashamed of his desires. He went out with a woman 3 times, 3 perfect dates, according to him. Deep conversations, romantic spots, him paying for everything like a gentleman. On the 3rd date, he finally tried to kiss her. She pulled away and told him he was moving too fast. Too fast, after 3 dates. The problem wasn't speed. The problem was that he built 0 sexual tension. He had been so respectful that she didn't see him as a sexual man. She saw him as a friend with money. 2 weeks later, he found out through Facebook that she was in a relationship with a guy she met on Tinder. A guy she probably slept with on the 1st or 2nd date. The difference? The Tinder guy wasn't ashamed of his masculinity. He didn't ask for permission to be sexual. He created tension from the very start. Here's the real formula. Direct interest plus unpredictable behavior equals lasting attraction. Direct interest means you don't hide that you like her, but you also don't give it away for free. You give it in doses, strategically. One day you're warm, another day more distant. One day you plan something romantic, another day you disappear into your personal projects. This creates what psychologists call intermittent reinforcement, the most addictive reward pattern that exists. It's the same pattern casinos, social media, and addictive products use. When she can't predict when she'll get your romantic attention, her brain switches into obsession mode. She starts thinking about you constantly. She analyzes every message, every gesture, every interaction. But here's the catch. This only works if you first establish yourself as a sexual man with options. If you've already shown that you don't need her to validate your masculinity. Now let's look at the moments when romance actually turns you into an automatic loser. And pay attention, because you've probably made at least 3 of these mistakes. Moment number 1, when you don't have real status with her. This was Jose's exact mistake. A $3,000 beach trip without even kissing her once. The result? We're just friends, followed by her kissing another guy that same night. What really happened here? Jose gave her girlfriend status without her earning it. In his mind, they were already in a romantic relationship. In her mind, He was just a generous friend, a friend she could use for a free vacation. Here's the harshest rule of all. Never, ever invite a woman to something you would only do with a girlfriend if she isn't acting like your girlfriend. If she doesn't reach out to you first, don't spend money on her. If she avoids physical intimacy, don't take her to romantic places. If she talks about other men, definitely don't take her on trips. Moment number 2. Right after a fight or when she's acting distant. This is the classic mistake. Apology flowers or a flood of romance to win her back. This is what I call reactive romance. Being romantic as a reaction to her coldness instead of romance as a reward for her warmth. When you do this, you're teaching her that she can manipulate When you reward her cold behavior with romance, you teach her that all she has to do to get attention from you is treat you badly. Let me tell you about Pablo. He had been dating a girl for 2 months. Things were going well until their first real fight. She got mad because he went out with his friends instead of seeing her on a Friday. Pablo's reaction? Flowers the next day, a handwritten apology letter, a romantic dinner that week, and a mountain getaway the next weekend. The result? She learned she could get whatever she wanted by being dramatic and distant. 6 months later, Pablo was spending thousands of dollars every time she threw a tantrum. The relationship ended when she got bored of him and found someone who didn't let her manipulate him. Moment number 3, during obvious commercial dates. Over-the-top Valentine's Day, first month anniversary, friendship day. Huge mistake. Why? Because those dates have nothing to do with you. That's calendar romance. Any beta can buy flowers on February 14th. That doesn't show creativity. It doesn't show that you think about her in a unique way. Instead, it builds commercial expectations rather than emotional connection. She starts expecting expensive gifts on specific dates instead of meaningful gestures at random moments. Alphas ignore commercial holidays and create their own romantic moments. A random Tuesday after she had a rough day. A Thursday morning just because. A Sunday because you remembered something she said weeks ago. Moment number 4, when it comes from neediness. This is the worst of all. Desperate romance. Romance from lack instead of abundance. How do you know if you're being romantic from need? Ask yourself this. Are you doing it because you truly want to make her happy or because you need to secure her interest? If it's the second, you're screwed. Neediness is like a toxic perfume. Women can smell it from miles away. It's that anxious energy that says, please don't leave me, please love me, please validate me. That's exactly what happened with Jose when she told him, you remind me of my dad. When a woman compares you to her father figure, beta game over. It means she sees you as someone who takes care of her, but not someone who excites her. Here's the brutal truth. 89% of relationships that fall apart started their decline the moment the man became too romantic at the first sign of her losing interest. Why? Because it confirms all her worst suspicions. It confirms that you're insecure. It confirms that you have no options. It confirms that you're willing to do anything to keep her. And that, ironically, makes her lose respect for you. And once a woman loses respect, attraction disappears forever. Let me be clear. I'm not saying never be romantic. I'm saying that being romantic in these 4 situations is emotional suicide. So tell me, when does romance actually work? When does it become your secret weapon instead of your downfall? The formula is simple but extremely powerful. Tension plus uncertainty plus strategic romance equals female obsession. Let me break it down, because your success with women depends on fully understanding this. Tension. She must feel that she could lose you at any moment. This doesn't mean being a jerk. It means being a man with purpose, with his own life, with standards. It means your time and attention are valuable because you have important things to do. Tension is created when she's not completely sure about her place in your life, when she knows that if she doesn't add value, she could lose you. And this isn't playing hard to get, it's actually being hard to get because you have a life worth living. Uncertainty. She should never be 100% sure of your feelings. This is where most men fail. They think being honest means telling her everything they feel all the time. Big mistake. Emotional honesty is not emotional vomiting. Being genuine is not being an open book. A little mystery is an aphrodisiac. Too much transparency is a turnoff. Carl Jung spoke about the tension between opposites. In the game of attraction, this means mixing moments of deep intimacy with periods of emotional distance. One day, you send her a message that makes her feel special. 3 days later, you're busy with your projects and barely reply. One night you talk until 3 a.m. The next week, you go out with your friends and don't invite her. This triggers what psychology calls intermittent reinforcement, the most addictive reward pattern there is. Strategic romance, romantic gestures at unexpected moments, not predictable ones. The difference is clear. Betas are romantic when the calendar tells them to be. Birthdays, anniversaries, after arguments. Alphas are romantic when nobody expects it. A Tuesday because she had a rough day. A Thursday morning for no reason. A Sunday because you remembered something she said a month ago. Timing changes everything. The same gesture that makes you look needy at the wrong moment makes you look like the most thoughtful man in the world at the right moment. Let me tell you about Fernando, 28, an engineer. He had been seeing Elena for 6 weeks. Things were good, but without drama, without the intensity that drives women crazy. Fernando applied the formula. Week 7. He focused on a big work project. He replied to her messages but didn't start conversations. He went out with friends on a Friday and didn't invite her. Tension. Week 8. Elena started reaching out more, suggesting plans. He showed interest but not urgency, uncertainty. Week 9. On a Tuesday, he remembered she had never seen the city from the mountain viewpoint. He showed up at her office with coffee, took her at sunset. Strategic romance. The result? Elena confessed that in those 3 weeks, she had truly fallen in love. The combination drove her crazy. But notice, this only worked because Fernando had already built attraction, had already escalated physically, had already shown he was a sexual man with options. Without that base, the formula doesn't work. With that base, it's devastating. Here are the 4 specific principles. 1. Never be more romantic than she is with you. 2. Romance must be a reward, never a bribe. 3. Always keep an air of mystery. 4. Do unique gestures for her, not gestures any guy with money could do. This formula has saved relationships, but it has also destroyed many when applied wrong. Let me give you 3 real cases that will completely change how you see romance. 3 men, 3 different approaches, 3 results that explain it all. Case number 1. Jose, the guy with the $3,000 trip. 4 months of knowing Laura. Group outings, no physical moves, no direct interest. Why? Because he was waiting for the perfect moment. The problem is that moment never comes. When he finally invited her on a beach trip, he thought it was his big move. 5-star hotel, romantic dinners, even a speech about his feelings. Mistake after mistake. First, he gave her girlfriend status without her earning it. Second, he created romantic pressure without building sexual attraction first. Third, he bet everything on one big moment instead of steady progression. The result? Awkwardness from day one. When she told him, "We're just friends," it wasn't cruelty, it was honesty. To her, they had always been friends. The money he spent didn't change that. That same night, Laura kissed another guy. Why? Because that man did in 20 minutes what Jose hadn't done in 4 months: build sexual tension. He saw the opportunity, acted, and she responded to that masculine energy. The lesson wasn't romance versus no romance, it was attraction versus no attraction. Case number 2, Marcus, the survivor of the friend zone. Marcus started out like Jose, months stuck in Andrea's friend zone. His instinct was the usual: confess his feelings, plan a romantic dinner, all the classic moves. But a friend opened his eyes before he ruined everything. Marcus changed the game. 1. He stopped being available all the time. 2. He started dating other women, not out of revenge, but to remind himself he had options. 3. When Andrea noticed the change, he didn't explain himself. He just kept his new energy. 4. When she touched him casually, he escalated right away. No asking for permission. The result? 3 months later, they were together. 2 years later, married. The difference with Jose? Marcus understood he had to change the dynamic before trying to be romantic. Case number 3, Roberto, the disaster of reactive romance. 3 months with Camila. Things were going well until she started pulling back. Short texts, vague plans, obvious distance. Roberto's reaction? Panic, followed by a flood of romance. Flowers delivered to her office. A surprise weekend trip. A 4-page love letter. Each gesture pushed her further away, because it wasn't romance from abundance, it was romance from need. His actions screamed, "I'll do anything, please don't leave me." And that energy is the most unattractive thing there is. 2 weeks later, Camila broke up with him. "You're moving too fast. I need space," she said. The real translation? "Your neediness is suffocating me, and I've lost respect for you." 6 months later, Camila was with another man who never sent her flowers, never wrote letters, never begged. A man who maintained his power even when she distanced herself. The conclusion of the 3 cases is clear. The kind of romance that attracts comes after establishing attraction from a position of strength as reward for her good behavior. The kind of romance that destroys comes before attraction, from neediness, as a bribe for attention. That fine line is the difference between total success or absolute failure with women. The hardest truth of all. Romance does not create attraction. Romance is the reward. If there is no base attraction, all the romance in the world is not going to save you. But if you have already generated that tension, that progression, that sexual connection, then strategic romance becomes pure gasoline for that flame. Here is the golden rule that changes everything and that 95% of men never understand. Never ever ask her if she wants to be your girlfriend. Let me repeat it because it is crucial. The relationship must be her idea, not yours. When her desire for you is genuine, when she really perceives the alpha that you are, she will ask you, "What are we?" She will want to define the relationship. She will pressure you for exclusivity. Why do beta men do the opposite? Because they operate from scarcity. They are so desperate to secure her that they want to formalize everything before she slips away. Massive mistake. When you initiate the conversation about relationships, you hand over all the power. You tell her without words that you need her more than she needs you, and that makes you the less desired in the dynamic. Alpha men wait not because they play games, but because they know that a woman who is truly interested will want to secure them. She will want exclusivity. She will want status. Let me tell you about Daniel. He had been dating Patricia for 2 months. Everything was perfect. Incredible chemistry, mental compatibility, natural physical progression. Daniel was falling in love fast. His first instinct was the typical one. "Hey, we should talk about us. Do you want to be my girlfriend?" But Daniel had learned this rule, so he waited. He maintained the progression, maintained the attention, maintained the mystery. 3 weeks later, it was Patricia who brought up the topic. "Hey, we've been seeing each other for a while and I really like you. Are we seeing other people? Do you see the difference?" She had to invest emotionally. She had to risk rejection. She had to show vulnerability, and that made her value the relationship much more than if he had initiated the conversation. Another fundamental principle that most men ignore. Actions always speak louder than words. Jose told Laura with words that she was special, but his actions screamed that he was desperate. The guy at the bar didn't say anything romantic, but his actions showed that he was confident. Which message was more powerful? Obvious. Women do not listen to what you say. They watch how you behave. They don't care that you tell them you are confident. They care that you act with confidence. They don't care that you say you have options. They care that you live like someone with options. They don't care that you say you respect them. They care that your actions show genuine respect. Here is the clearest difference between alpha men and beta men. Beta men beg romantically. Alpha men reward romantically. Betas wait for permission. Alphas take opportunities. Betas apologize for being men. Alphas celebrate their masculinity. Betas live from scarcity. Alphas from abundance. Ask yourself, how many times were you romantic from scarcity and not from abundance? How many times did you wait for the perfect moment instead of creating constant progression? Jose waited 4 months to make a move. The other guy took 20 minutes. Marcus spent 6 months in the friend zone before understanding the real dynamic. Roberto destroyed a 3-month relationship with a week of desperate romance. All those mistakes can be avoided with a basic understanding of how female attraction works. Romance is not your enemy. Ignorance about when and how to use it is your enemy. When you understand these dynamics, when you internalize them, romance becomes one of your most powerful weapons. But until you are a man who generates attraction, who maintains his personal power, who lives from abundance, all your romantic gestures will work against you. That is the difference between a needy man and a magnetic man, between a beta who begs for love and an alpha who inspires obsession, between someone who spends $3,000 only to end up friend-zoned and someone who generates genuine attraction without spending a cent. The choice is yours. If this video opened your eyes to truths that no one else had told you, hit like so that more men can free themselves from the romantic lie that destroys their chances with women. And if you want to discover the other 7 psychological truths about women that are going to completely change your game, subscribe to the channel because the next video is going to blow your mind. Remember, actions always speak louder than words, and your romantic life will improve when you start speaking the language that women really understand. Yeah,